A woman named Darcy runs a small oddities shop, selling eerie trinkets and haunted objects to curious customers. But among her collection lies something far more dangerous, a life-sized wooden mannequin that seems to have a mind of its own. What starts as a strange discovery soon spirals into a terrifying nightmare, revealing dark secrets about her past and the true nature of her sister's death. Darcy's sister, Danny, was found dead under suspicious circumstances. Her husband, Ted, a respected psychiatrist, insists it was an accident. But Darcy has her doubts. As she digs deeper into the case, she finds inconsistencies in Ted's story. She's not the only one with questions. An investigator named Ivan also suspects foul play. While Darcy searches for answers, Ted uses his influence to cover his tracks. He convinces his new girlfriend, Yana, that Darcy is mentally unstable and obsessed with conspiracy theories. But Darcy isn't the only one questioning him. Ivan, following his own leads, uncovers disturbing details about Ted's past. Danny's death may not have been the first time he's been linked to tragedy. Darcy becomes increasingly drawn to the wooden mannequin in her shop. It feels strangely familiar, almost as if it's watching her. One night, as she inspects it closely, something unexplainable happens. The mannequin moves. At first, she thinks it's her imagination, but then it starts responding to her thoughts. Somehow, she realizes she can control it. Determined to confront Ted, Darcy lures him to the oddities shop. She demands the truth about Danny, but Ted remains calm, dismissing her claims as paranoia. When Darcy pushes him, he snaps, admitting that he played a role in her sister's death but claiming it was necessary. As he tries to call her, Darcy appears disoriented, her gaze unfocused as if lost in a hallucination. She mutters something about exposing him, but instead of reacting to Ted, she absent-mindedly steps forward, right into the open trap door in front of her. She disappears into the darkness below. Below, Darcy lands hard on the stone floor, but before Ivan can act, he is brutally attacked by the mannequin, which moves with a mind of its own. Though he barely escapes with his life, he is later committed to a psychiatric hospital, where Ted ensures he never speaks again. Now, with both Darcy and Ivan out of the picture, Ted thinks he's won. He returns to his home, ready to move on. But when he arrives, he finds a package waiting for him. Inside is an old call bell, one that Darcy had shown him before. According to legend, it belonged to a bellhop who died in a nearby hotel. Anyone who rings it invites the spirit into their home. Ted, skeptical but intrigued, rings the bell. Nothing happens. He smirks, shaking his head at the absurdity of it all. But then, the temperature in the room drops. The lights flicker. A shadow moves in the corner. Ted stiffens, turning slowly. His smirk fades as he sees it, the ghostly figure of the bellhop standing behind him. Desperate, Ted stumbles backward, knocking over a table as he tries to reach for his phone. But before he can dial for help, the room is plunged into darkness. A whisper echoes in his ear, barely audible but filled with malice. The shadow moves closer, its form growing clearer. It's not just any spirit, it's Danny. Her hollow eyes lock onto Ted as he gasps in horror. He tries to flee, but his body is frozen in place. The air around him thickens, making it harder to breathe. The walls begin to close in, and the last thing he hears is the sound of the bell ringing on its own. The ghostly figure of the bellhop lunges at him, dragging him into the darkness as his screams are abruptly cut off. Days later, Yana visits Ted's home, concerned that he hasn't been answering his phone. The house is eerily quiet. She steps inside and notices the overturned furniture, the lingering scent of burnt candles, and the unmistakable feeling that she is not alone. Her eyes land on the call bell, sitting perfectly still on the dining table. Nervously, she calls out Ted's name, but only silence greets her. Then the bell rings. Her heart pounds as she turns toward the sound, but there is no one there. Just as she steps back, something cold brushes against her shoulder. She whirls around, but the room is empty. The lights flicker violently before shutting off completely. The screen fades to black. Ted may have escaped justice in the eyes of the law, but some forces cannot be bribed or manipulated. Some debts must be paid one way or another, and in the end, the dead always find a way to collect.